Roses for the Dead, a Descendants of Darkness Yami no Matsui fanfic by The Cat and the Cow, as read by Stephanie. An excerpt from Chapter 2. A series of murders have occurred in Kanagawa. Not normally your district, I know, but Wakaba-chan and Terazuma-san are the only others available besides you two, and they just got back from a case 2 hours ago. They need to rest and recuperate, so it's up to you two to get down there and collect those lost souls. Perhaps you could stop the serial killer as well. Konoe eyed the two Shinigami before him carefully, then turned his attention to his secretary. Tatsumi-san, will you please brief them of the case? The secretary nodded. Of course, Koucho. Now, Suzuki-san and Kurosaki-kun, the victims of the murders were all killed in the same fashion. Slashes on their necks resembling crosses and on their lower backs of pentagrams. Quite grotesque, and this is how they've lost all their blood. Their eyes have also been gouged out and their tongues cut off. All the murders took place 10 hours within the last. This has been going on for 3 days. So there have been 7 victims so far. Each victim was found outside of their house. The first 4 found near the local cathedral, and the last 3 near the graveyard, all between the ages of 10 and 20. Their souls have yet to return. You are to investigate this, retrieving the souls and preventing any more murders. Understood? Yes, Tatsumi-san, Hisoka replied, feeling uncertainty grow in the pit of his stomach. This seemed like a particularly difficult case. It would be hard to get back into the swing of fieldwork, but it was better than doing paperwork, right? Right? Suzuki, however, had other ideas. Aw, but Koucho, Tatsumi, this looks so hard. Can't we have an easier case first? Please? Suzuki-san, if we could, we'd send someone else, Konoe sighed. But we need this case solved immediately, and you two are the only ones available. I'm very sorry, but work is work. I know, the violet-eyed man pouted, then glanced down at his younger partner, who was pretending to be extremely interested in the files on the case. Tatsumi pinched the bridge of his nose. Well, you two are to set off immediately. Reservations have already been made for you at a hotel since we believe this should take some time. No more than a few days, though. Understood? Understood, Tatsumi-san, Hisoka nodded. Come on, Suzuki. He turned around and began dragging his partner out the door with him. Kurosaki-kun. Wait. A word, please, Tatsumi called after the boy. Suzuki-san, you may go on ahead. I need to speak with Kurosaki-kun privately. Suzuki tilted his head to the side, looking thoroughly confused. Hisoka nearly mirrored that image, but he complied and walked back over to the secretary. He sent one last look at his partner, who nodded and began walking down the hall again. Despite him trusting Tatsumi dearly, Suzuki couldn't help but worry about the boy, and wondering why he wasn't able to listen in. What could they possibly have to tell Hisoka that I can't hear? He pouted. I am his partner, after all. Suzuki resolved to pester Hisoka about it when he joined him later on. It shouldn't take too long, so he'd just wait for him in the break room, while enjoying some of Wakaba's homemade sweets. He chirped happily and bounced off towards the sugary goodness that awaited him. Page break. Kurosaki-kun, don't look so nervous. It'll only be a minute. You're not in trouble. Tatsumi was amused by the uncomfortable look Hisoka took on once Suzuki had left. He really doesn't like being without him, Tatsumi thought to himself, observing the boy. Hisoka met his gaze evenly. What is it, Tatsumi-san? Well, I suppose you are aware of our concern with sending you and Suzuki-san on this case. We just want to make sure you're clear on some subjects. He paused, pushing up his glasses. While on this case, please make sure you keep a close eye on Suzuki-san. What happened in Kyoto hasn't blown over yet. Even the slightest of incidents could set him off. So stay close to him, all right? I understand, Tatsumi-san. Hisoka averted his gaze, waiting for a reply. When he was dismissed, with a pat on the shoulder, he quickly turned and headed in the direction he had seen Suzuki leave in. Tatsumi watched him sadly. He knew that both Suzuki and Hisoka were not in the best emotional states. He'd rather have them continue to rest, but regulations called that Shinigami must be on call at all times. There would be no exception. However, Tatsumi doubted that with Hisoka around, the violet-eyed man wouldn't try to erase his existence. The boy had a strong hold on him, which could be both a good and bad thing. Sighing in resignation, the secretary turned his back on Hisoka's retreating form and walked back to his office, although he doubted he'd get any work done. To be continued.